Hey guys, welcome back. It's Grim Reaper coming at you for another video of Raid Shadows. Hopefully you're doing well and hopefully you're looking after yourself and having a fantastic start to the week where you are in the world. We're back on my account today and I wanted to talk about one of the best free champions, probably the best free champion that you can gain for PvP and PvE. I've done a couple of videos on him before, but I finally have fully kitted out of him and I wanted to share the build with you guys today and talk about some team synergies. Plenty of good relics that were really good on him as well. That can catch people off guard and change your experience of PvP. Now, we've got this champion going in for CHYRMEA and HYDRA as well. I'm not going to run them for this video. I don't want to drag it out really long, but I will be sharing a build. And we'll be sharing some screenshots of like the damage and etc. as well. There is a couple of videos on that style of build already. It's just not being updated with the 6-star blessing. And obviously I wanted to kind of get this out because he is now the 6-star blessing that we needed to. We obviously are talking about the Skinwalker champion, the Skinwalker beast, Marius. Now, Marius, to me, doesn't really look like a Skinwalker, but we'll take it, right? He looks absolutely brilliant. And we know that he is probably the best free champion that you get right now in the game overall for overall content. Obviously, you have Carnage and MARIUS, but I don't think they're on his level when we're talking about Arena or in other areas of this game. So this guy absolutely hits like a truck. I'm not going to go through his kit. You guys can go check out his kit for sure. So we're going to jump into Arena. We'll do a damage test with his A3 and A1. And obviously we'll talk about a couple of ways. I think he's got fairly good multipliers, which we can have a look on when we're talking about this for this. So I can get his multipliers up on the HYDRA's website and we'll take a look at that as well. So let's jump into Arena. Let's do a damage test, see what he can do. Right, okay, so we are on the account, so we can check on the multipliers. The multipliers for Marius are surprisingly, for Marius is multipliers. They are, the A2 is a legendary, is a 1.2 defense plus a 0.03 target max HP. So obviously against max HP it does do that. And then on the A1 is actually classed as weak and is a 2.5 multiplier of that. Now obviously there's gemstones etc. you can take to increase his damage and etc. So we can go ahead and just go ahead. We're going to do a damage test on Timoth because Timoth has probably one of the best accounts in Raid, probably like one of top 50 accounts in Raid, obviously, but probably one in top in 10 to be honest. So this will be a great time to do a challenge. So as long as we go first, it should be a good challenge. We'll all die afterwards, which is good because then we can see the damage in total in comparison. So we will do a 3-man. Tim, I appreciate you let me hit your team for the damage test for the video. Probably doesn't know who I am, but it's one of them ones. Why not, right? We want to see damage. I feel like this is the best way to do damage test because in Arena it's more realistic. So for me, for Arena champions, when I'm looking at damage, I want to, do the testing and etc. So that's one thing that I would kind of always say for Arena champions. You're not really, a lot of people are not really using like defense down and weaken. We are using increased defense, increased attack, right, to increase our damage on these champions. So I like to try and keep it real so we can kind of compare them to other people, right? So obviously we'll play the increased defense and then we'll just go straight in there. So we have the increased defense. This is based off defense and enemy max HP, so there's no reason to play the A3. Now, one of the abilities or two of the abilities probably will go into the stone skin. So we're going to look at Star Sage for this damage and let's just have a look. So 10k, 10k, 41, more or less. And you can see here, it's pretty jacked up team, very difficult team to kind of take on. And you can see that we're doing quite a bit of damage with that, which is pretty nice to see. Then we can go ahead and take out, test it again with the next one, with the A1, right? So we'll take him on again for the A1. To be honest, the chances of me being with Timoth anyway would probably take me about, what, 4 or 5 goes in the arena. So I wouldn't really be attacking an account like this if it wasn't for a damage test. There's clearly spent way more for investment, right? So we'll do that there. Okay, so he's going to jump in ahead, unfortunately, which is a little bit annoying because we obviously have that damage to kind of look at. So I'm going to have to waste some tokens on Timoth. I'm sure Timoth won't mind the points, right, that he's going to get. Let me just grab some tokens from here because I don't want to waste arena ones. So you can see I've not been logged in for 1 hour, which is a bit annoying. Did we use these ones yet? So we just buy something from the market to get that. Try and be resourceful with this and do my tokens at the same time. And then we'll take it from there. So do Timoth again. Hopefully the fear doesn't proc. That's a little bit annoying to see the damage test, right? Well, obviously we know that damage the A1's not gonna do much. The A1's really useful though. Like if it was godlike ability, it'd be way more over tuned, and a lot of people say he's overtuned already. I personally don't think he's overtuned. I think he's okay. Okay, fear goes again. Let's hope that this fear doesn't keep rocking, right? It's meant to be 50% chance as back to back. Doesn't seem to work for me for live arena, which is a bit annoying. So, you know, Timoth, you're getting all the wins right now because of the fear. Well, to be fair, we're just doing damage tests anyway. So there we are, finally a beautiful cleanse from her. So we're just going to try the A1 on the Star Sage. Thank you, player, for letting me do the damage test finally. 43k on that A1, which honestly is not awful if we are being honest. So let's go into some proper teams and let me show you how we're kind of using this Marius overall. So there is a few ways we can use him. In this build, he can be used in go first teams and go second teams, which I really like. So let's go with a like go second team. So we're going to come in with a team that will protect it fairly well. Bear in mind, this is not the best teams of them by far. He has really good synergy with Queen and Cora because she can cleanse off and stop him being CC'd, etc. And obviously you can't drop his turn meter. Then we can come in with the UDK wherever he is. I think UDK's just disappeared on me. And there's the UDK. And then I guess we could come in with some type of lockout, which would be the Warlord, because Warlord's in Stone Skin. You could also use Bolster as well, depending on the style of team, to add a bit more survivability. Now, Bolster is really good against Marius because of his multipliers, which can be really useful of a good way to slow him down for go second teams. Like Taurus and Marishka have great go second. Obviously, you can see here is going to increase, so increased defense, which is amazing. People that increase or in defense is pretty nice to see, and it is a complete one shot. Let's be honest, not the best teams in the world there, but it's pretty reasonable. I would like to say that we will face this team here, but Taurus and Marishka is a big counter to Marius. Now, we do have a slight chance of winning this because we have the UDK to soak up the Taurus counterattacks, which is pretty nice. Obviously, as well, if you don't use A3, maybe someone like Sifi, you can do that already. This is going to be a really hard team, and Magma Shield is really good against Marius as well, low-key from that. So it looks like he's been really lucky with the Stone Skin strip, which is fine. He's also stripped off my immunity as well on my Queen and Cora, which is really useful. And then we will be able to do some stuff. And yeah, obviously the petrification is landed there, which is annoying. And this team just looks like it's a bit too strong for me to go second, right? So we could potentially just come in here and try a different team, which we could try in second. But you can just see it's a bit too strong, and it's a good defense, solid defense. Let's try something different. Now, normally when I do use Marius, I have a very successful win rate with him. So let's go something like this. So we have trying to challenge him on speed race now, and if obviously we lose speed race, we die, which is what happens with speed races. So again, same kind of build. Can we work in go second? It also not. So yeah, his a bias must be like 450 or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and sheep him. There's no one as submissive. That's great. We'll play the E. We can play the A3, right? Because sorry, the A2, because there's no reason to waste the A3 yet. Or maybe we should have. Okay, let's do this. Obviously, the increased accuracy is good against everyone in the team. We'll play that. Taurus will not do the counter because it breaks the sheep at a different time. He's overlapping a little bit. We'll play the stuns there, which is pretty nice. He's done his cleanse already. We can go back into Marius. Taurus and Marishka being CC'd. I'm practicing a lot as well because I'm not really being on a high level of arena, a classic arena on my account lately, for a lot of reasons. Generally because I'm not been pushing plat. I think this week was the first time I pushed plat in a long time. It looks like, well, Star Sage is going to revive, which is not much we can really do. Looks like we're absolutely going to wake up the Taurus anyway. So he's going to revive, which is a bit annoying. We could try and sheep. Okay, we do get sheep. Nice. We do survive because he's defense based as well. He's got fairly good survivability. We can try and play the fear, get Marishka back down. Bit of a long fight, but for live arena, you don't really worry about time. Marius has taken a couple of hits from Marishka. Will save the A2 from the thingy to make sure that when he revives, we can CC and control him. And again, like, this is a pretty solid team. Like, there's no denying it. So it's a little bit difficult to kind of hit these style of teams. But this is what you want to see, right? You want to see the best builds. So we're gonna try and come in like that. I'm hoping Malassu is gonna be ready, but she's not. We can drop some term meter on the guys. That's why he's so good still. And then we'll come in to our friend here. Unfortunately, we lose the pinpoint, which is annoying. We might die to the magma shield, which is a little bit interesting. Okay, we're gonna go for a sheep. Again, long fight, right? But you can see that if you use the team correctly, Marius is an absolute beast. We want to take on the best of the best teams for these videos, so you can kind of see what he can do on a fully Waken account. Now, all the blessings I've got from him have actually came from the shop. I did have to wait a little while for the level 3, but after like level 3, rest of them actually came quite fairly quickly, which I feel a little bit lucky for sure. Now, you do need to be careful a little bit against Magma Shields, because Magma Shield will reflect some of the tag back, right? Which is a nuisance to deal with. Obviously, I'm a proud owner of the Magma Shield, and we do get the win in the end. Obviously, 4 minutes is not pretty, but we wasn't really like scared of losing that either way. And obviously, there is a few fights here that is going to be very difficult. Again, Taurus, Garishka, very difficult. He has the Odin and etc. So again, we could try something like this. We should be faster this time because it's probably not as high level, as hard as the last team, but it's still got a lot of threats in there. Odin's obviously really good. Taurus, Garishka with a self count can counter attack as well, which is going to be really, really useful. We'll play the A3. I don't want to waste a reset so fast because I know that Armand is going to get the abilities here. He will come in and strip me on Odin. We can try and play the A1 to get a cooldown. Maybe that will do the A3. And then I'm actually going to play the accuracy up because this will help Armand. So I don't know if there's any high resistance. Obviously, also she needs accuracy as well. And then a bit more accuracy for the stone skin, etc. is never a bad thing. And you can kind of see that the quality of this team is a little bit less different. Obviously, we have the one submissive on the Mariska, which is pretty cool to see. There's no reason to play the sheep right now. And then Marius is going to come in and do the shenanigans again. You can see again one submissive there. This time we'll save the A3 because there's no reason to use it. We got reaction going off on Taurus, which is going to be a little bit annoying because that'll slow us down. We're going to try and save the A2 or the A3 for when Mariska revives, which is what I generally try and do. I do want to try an A1 her there, but Taurus will counterattack us, right? Which is what we want to try and avoid. Obviously, her relentless procs, which is annoying as hell. Again, okay, so this time we will play the stun to protect our team because we need to CC as much as possible. We'll keep the fear this time because, again, it can be a little bit useful. And then we'll play this A3 to come back around into our cycles here, so we can go like this. Let's sheep the Odin because Odin can revive Mariska. We can play the increased defense, help with survivability. Okay, so she's just gone ahead and done a strip, which is annoying as hell. We want Taurus to avoid having much bust as possible because of the strip, right? Okay, so we can see that the A3 is ready. So the A2 is ready. We don't get petrification, and then he gets finished off with that. And then I think Taurus didn't come back. No, again, Lamassu coming in a strip, bringing Marius back into play. Great team synergy again for La Arena. 2.5 minutes is perfectly fine. Taurus Mariska is a great counter to Marius, but if you play against him correctly, he can do some work. Now we have a team here that's going to potentially be faster than us. I would like to take this on because he's really good against Star Sage, but he will be faster, and that's not really a challenge. We have a Taurus Mariska. This guy is like normal number 4. If I remember correctly, I think he's got one submissive on all over the team. If I'm being honest. So yeah, I think it's a different guy I'm thinking of. Let's have a look if there is another Star Sage that we can take on that's not so fast, or we can beat in a speed race. Let's have a look. That we're being kind on the defenses. Okay, so we have a Nice, we have a Armand, we have Star Sage and Mariska. This is going to be a really challenging team to take on, but again, Marius is good enough to beat this team with a little bit of the right RNG, right? Like this team is very difficult, as some of the most meta champions in the game. And he's got Sonic set on the Armad as well, which is really, really annoying. But, you know, hey ho, it's one of them ones. I think he's got a one submissive as well, actually, there. And you can see, right, there's a big chunk of damage already coming in from the Marius, right? Because it's a triple hitter and it's really solid against him. Yeah, he's got the one of, he's got the, he's got the one is submissive on the Nice, which is quite common to see, which doesn't go my advantage. He just reflected all 3 buffs back, which is actually kind of cost me the fight. Not because I've done it wrong, it's because of the wand. Watch this wand just reflect it back. Okay, it doesn't reflect it back this time. That's going to be quite useful to kind of deal with this. Obviously, Nice is kind of just busted on his own. Mariska as well, really solid against these champions. And they would try and bring this back. We haven't done too bad. Obviously, his team is a bit more pay to win. I think the only pay to win champion I've got in here is a Sifi. And you can see that even with the right gear, we can kind of challenge his team slightly. He's going to come in and do his shenanigans, and then we will go ahead and take him up there. But unfortunately, he self-revives because Marishka is absolutely nuts. So we're going to try. I don't think we can sheep him because I haven't got accuracy up, but we'll try. Okay, so he's probably going to do a cleanse in a second, unless we can do that there. Let's do the sleep. And then we have the accuracy up. We have block buff, so we don't need to worry about that. We have increased defense, which is what I'm checking for, because I really would like to try and get the win. But Soul Reap coming in, nearly getting me the win. The one is submissive. This niece is just hanging on for its dear life. There you are, bottom at T. 2 minutes and 18. Even with the one is submissive, the Marius is getting a job done. And hopefully you can kind of see of what I'm trying to do with Marius. And obviously it has really good synergy with champions like Melasu and etc., which you can find the builds on other videos, or you can message me in Discord. The link is down in the description. I won't be going into all the builds for today's video because well, the video will just be too long, right? So really solid. I do face this guy a little bit in live arena overall. Let's go into the build. Let's check out the build. We'll talk about relics. We'll talk about masteries, and we'll also talk about blessings as well, because all of this is really important for PvP and PvE. Okay, so this is the team that we use for him in HYDRA, and I will show you the Chimera team as well. So you can see here that Marius is coming in with 335 million. Obviously, we have got Christian Ram. I did want to go ahead and put out Christian Ram because Christian Ram will generally give him the best damage when we're talking about PvE content, when we are talking about HYDRA, and we're talking about well, HYDRA and Chimera, right? Which is where a lot of people use him. So if you want him to be more a specialist for PvE, Christian Rem is the way to go. I am more of a PvP player, so for me, Soul Reap is the way to go for me there, which we'll talk a bit more when we are going over his blessings, because there is one or two surprises as well, and there's quite a few that can fit his build. So it's 9-piece Merciless. I will show you the build in a second. It's pretty crazy build, if I'm being honest. I've tried him in Slayer. I haven't been able to get the same results in Slayer, so I generally do think that 9-piece Merciless is the way to go in the both content. I did do a video in that, kind of showing that Merciless is just stronger on Marius with a 5-star blessing on Marius at the time. But it was more in Chimera. Obviously, we didn't do it in HYDRA because I hadn't got any keys at the time, so could be a bit of a different situation because 9-piece Slayer gives you 20% turn meter in HYDRA and only 5% in Chimera. So you can see here, if we go to Chimera Clash, right now I have increased my personal best overall, and you will see the results in Chimera as well. So for Nightmare, I did averagely I do around about 250, depending on the rotation and affinity. This rotation is not too good for me because it being weak affinity for Necmo. So if it was last rotation or the rotation before, I would have been breaking 300 on the build. So you can see here. Now I didn't see the point of doing a full video on this. It's just because it's a little bit of an update, so I thought we'd drop it in today. And then I did get a new personal best in Ultra Nightmare. I did miss out on one of the trials on the Ram form because, again, this is a little bit of a pain in the bum when we're talking about relics and etc. So really strong damage overall on that. So Christian Rem did increase my Chimera Ultra damage by about 11 million. Now in the run, I actually made a couple of mistakes because I did it on stream, and I got provoked a few times on the ultimate form because I wasn't paying attention as I normally do, so that also lowered my damage as well. I also got bad RNG throughout the run on the bosses through the first few rotations. So let's talk about the build. We'll show you the build first that we have on the 9-piece Slayer, sorry, on Merciless. I'm not going to equip it, but you can kind of see the stats here. So for HYDRA, he would be, bonuses will come in. He will be roughly around about 400 and 27 critical damage with the Great Hall bonuses, which is fully max. Speed coming in at 305. Defense would be around about 7,000, and then accuracy would be around about 450 for Hydra. These are the stats obviously we're running for Chimera. Overall, the Slayer honestly wasn't far from the build, right? Wasn't far from the stats. You can see that we are lacking on defense a little bit and critical damage, which doesn't really, I don't feel really plays a bigger factor into that. Now, when we're talking about arena, which is what this mainly video is about, I still feel that 4-piece stone skin and 4-piece ignore defense set, one of the three, savage, instinct, or lethal, is still the way to go. You can see here we're cracking in 342 critical damage, the accuracy coming in at 319, defense coming in at 7,800, and speed coming in at 303. They're probably the only stats you really need to pay attention to. Obviously, critical rate as well. I'll be honest, I can get his speed up to around about 320 if I wanted to from glyphs, but at the moment I'm really happy with this build, and I don't think I can really make it any better. I do like a little bit of accuracy as well. Now, if I really wanted to be a bore, try and lower the accuracy a little bit for speed, for speed or defense could be the way to go. So you can see here I've gone for defense ascension, critical damage on the gloves, defense ascension there, and speed as well here. And then you can also go like that. Now, if your champions are empowered or what's the word I'm looking for? Empowered or 6-star blessing, I think minimum 300 speed is now the minimum requirement at the high end of arena. Now, obviously, all my nukers are not 300 speed. They would be if they had 6-star blessings, but a lot of the my mythicals are just lacking the blessings, right, which plays a big factor into stats overall. So let's talk about the relics then. So for me, I use Cat Gaze. Cat Gaze is probably the way to go for most of us, especially if you're going to use him in Chimera. Now, you can swap the gear around for different content, which only cost silver, but honestly, swapping out relics and the blessing is just way too expensive to do, even for me, on a weekly basis, which I wouldn't waste my gems for that or the materials for Cat Gaze. I really wish we could move around the relics more freely for our accounts to kind of like gear, right? Which would be really useful on a weekly basis. I kind of wish it would be a little bit free, so people who have less relics can really, specialize their champions a bit more. So I would like to Raid to kind of take this. Hopefully they do watch this, and they probably don't, but hopefully they do kind of watch this content and this video and take it into consideration, letting us have like a free swap on the gems, on the blessings weekly, and letting us be able to move relics around for free, which would be great overall. So let's talk about this then. So for me, Cat Gaze is the way to go for most of us. I think the best relic for him go second overall would be the one submissive. I don't feel like one of submissives needed so much if in speed teams. I think Cat Gaze is probably the way to go there. There is probably a couple of others like Death Dealer and stuff, which could be pretty fun. But when we're talking about legendaries, there would be the one of the two as well. Aspect of Seraph is kind of useful, but it took a bit of a nerf. So for me, the best two relics would be the Cat Gaze, or coming in with one submissive. One submissive, I think it would give you more flexibility for go first and go second as well overall. So that's kind of the way I'd look at it. Now, when we're talking about gemstones, for me, circular gemstone is going to be the boss layer, which really helps with the A1 to do more damage. Now, boss layer doesn't work with the A2 as far as I'm aware of, which is a bit annoying because there's enemy max HP, so I don't think it works for them. I'm not 100% on that. We also got two more gemstones here, so the wearer has 8% chance to reset its cooldown. I'm going to swap this out. I want to test this gemstone. I'm going to be honest, I feel like just taking the top one, increasing the wearer's critical damage by 10 for those enemies at 50% lower or higher would be probably a better gemstone for the triangle ones. Just talking about legendary ones. Now, obviously, if we have gemstones on a mythical scale, there would only be one I would really want, and that would be the counterattack, right? Or there'd be two. So the wearer has a 50% more damage from counterattacking, which would be really useful for 91. And then probably onslaught as well. The wearer has a 8% chance to gain a extra turn after killing an enemy. These two would be the way to go for that. When I mean, this one would be fine, double down would be fine, and yeah, I guess extra punishment could be useful, but these two would be the way to go for that. This, a lot of people would be putting this on carnage as well, so it depends on your account and your that. Then this one here, after killing a enemy, where it deals the attack will deal 20%. Again, for me, I would still think that this one is better for the A1 where we're talking about that. So yeah, I guess this wearer uses multiple skills. If when using multi-skill hits, each hit after the first one, the wearer will ignore 5% target defense. This one would really be really nice as well. Overall, this one wouldn't be bad for him. And then I guess this one wouldn't be bad as well. And then I guess this one wouldn't be bad as well. So there is quite a few triangle ones to kind of go there. I put my best gemstones on him for that. So again, I think the triangle one as well, the mythical one, would be better for Chimera overall as well. So that'd be something I would look into. Again, they're very expensive to move. Now, when we're talking about blessings, we have Soul Reap to go, which is really, really useful. Then we also have, I see some people using Templar Chains on him. I don't really like the idea of using Templar Chains on him, but I see some people do that. Obviously, Christian Rem would be the way to go for P versus E. I don't think it would be better than Cruelty. You can also go Polymorph as well, which could be quite useful. And then we also have Lightning Cage if you're using Stone Skin, which I see one or two people use. Now, if you want him to be a better counter against like Nice and Star Sage, especially against Nice with his passive ability, Phantom Touch could be a interesting one as well. Personally, you can also use Salt Reef for that as well. Because it counts as an additional hit against his passive ability. So I know one or two people are using Phantom Touch for that reason. Personally, I wouldn't take Phantom Touch, but I just wanted to kind of mention it in the video because I feel like it's good information to know. And then when we're talking about masteries, there is a mistake on my masteries, which I'll talk about in a second. But for me, Shield Break would be the way to go there. Obviously, Keen Strike as well, Ruthless Ambush, really solid ones. I do use Armads a lot and Fabian, so for me, I will take the Optimus, but you could go with Bring It Down as well because it's defense based. Cycle of Violence is going to be really useful, and then you have these as well. So where's the mistake then? Well, Snipe is probably one of the biggest mistakes on the masteries. So this will give you an extra 5% chance to enfeeble mythicals and etc. So that would be one of the changes I would make. Master Hex does work with feeble, a very low chance. It does catch me every now and again on my Commodus because it just will land in. I don't have Stone Skin on him. Which can be really, really useful as well. And then obviously you're taking accuracy as well. I don't feel like you should take counterattacks sides because he's probably going to counterattack anyway on a large scale against mythicals and stuff like that. So overall, I think they're probably the best ways to build Marius. And from my personal experience to build a Marius, let me know down in the comments what do you think about this and if there's anything different that you would do on your Marius. Do you have Marius yet as well? That's kind of a big one as well because I know a few people don't have him at the moment. I've seen Marius across the board, even in bronze live arena, so it really depends on your look and what you're prioritizing on your account and how much you play and how hardcore you are, right? So that is it for today's video. As usual, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. I've been Grim. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.